Hi, and welcome. Thanks for joining me today. I'm just setting up to do a landscape painting in the studio. I'm going to be using two references. One, a plein air painting that I did in Italy. So I'll be taking us to Italy today. There's the plein air painting, meaning I did it on location. I actually did it from the window of a villa where I teach workshops. Hopefully we'll be able to get back there next year. I have one scheduled. Hope you can join us. I've pulled out all my paints that I use for that. I took a photo just on my phone here. Got those colors pulled out. I'll set them up on the palette. And I've also found the reference photo. So I'll be using the photo a little bit, but mostly I'm going to choose to use the painting. Painting is a 9 by 12. This canvas is 11 by 14, so the dimensions are slightly off. I'll have a little more sky in this one. The other differences are the plein air I did on a piece of board, a beautiful, nice, smooth board. This I'm choosing to do on canvas, so right there is going to be a little different. So translating a painting from what we do plein air to the studio has some challenges, and we'll be going through those together. So glad you could join me, and let's get to it. So the first thing I'm going to do is establish my horizon line. Now, I don't want to do it halfway because it makes for a pretty boring composition. And I am copying the painting, so it's going to be below the half. And I think we'll do this. Now, as you can see, I'm working very thin, and I'm just going to put in this line. I'm using some yellow ochre, very thin, just going to establish, let's see, kind of raised up there, whereas it's going to go down really. So I pulled out a rag too to have at hand, and I can just rub out anything I don't want. Now, there are some distant mountains which are purple, so I'm going to leave that alone for now. There's some areas of light, so I'm just going to kind of mark those for myself. Give myself some indications here, and I've got this line here it's not a diagonal line, which is a very interesting dynamic line. It's the most dynamic line. So that's it. This is all going to be the land here, and then the rest will be sky. I'm going to introduce a couple colors that I didn't have with me. When I'm traveling, I use a very limited amount of paint. I've worked out a lot of problems doing the plein air painting, I probably worked pretty quickly on this. I kind of remember. It was 2 years ago now, so some of these things, I've lost some of that sense of what it was that I saw there. So as I'm painting, it will come back to me and be reminded of what the inspiration was. I want to get this sense of light. This was early morning light, I remember. I woke up before sunrise. With the time change, it made it nice and easy. At this point, I think there was 6 hours, 8 hours time difference. I don't know, good amount. So I'm not usually an early morning person, except for when it comes to skiing, sailing, and painting. And it was certainly easy to get up early and capture these beautiful sunrises. I had several to choose from, and I'm just choosing this one for this demo. So far I've just used this one brush. I've used yellow ochre and then this Perylene Crimson, which I did not have with me. It's kind of a cross between alizarin crimson and burnt sienna, I would say. And then the sun is rising to the right there, so I'm going to keep my darks all to the left, and if I put the darks next to the lights, and as I go back it's going to be smaller strokes. And down here it's going to be very dark. The sun is just cresting in certain areas, and down here I'm not seeing the sun quite yet. I'm just dipping my brush in the mineral spirits to loosen this Courbet green up. And I can pick up with the same brush the reds and greens. What's going to happen is they'll turn into these deep, rich, beautiful dark browns. And with some slight variation, that's just going to happen with the brush strokes without me putting a lot of effort into it. So I'm establishing where my darks are. Now I do see, let's see, I'm going to put out this beautiful, this cinnabar green. To pick it up, I see I've done a little bit of green, so I'm going to have this underneath and come back. I'll probably go a little bold with it now and come back and paint into it. And as you can see right now, it doesn't look that bright because I still have a lot of white canvas showing. So what I want to get done in this first go around is really get the white canvas covered, because I won't be able to do my values until that white is all covered. And I can just mush this right into here and let my brush and the paints work for me. Now these were these beautiful hills in the distance, and there was so much going on. I really had to simplify. You're not going to be able to capture everything out there. So it's important to just try to figure out what is it that's capturing the attention, the excitement. What is it that makes us want to paint that particular scene? And then there's all these grasses here. So I'm going to go back. And the light was just hitting the very peaks of it. So it's going to be lighter than the shadows. And as you notice, I have not looked at the reference photo yet because I'm getting the gesture in, I'm getting my original energy. I don't want to go too big with that tree. I might have just gone too big with that. And then there was another tree here that was much bigger in real life. And I remember having to really lighten it up because it was coming forward. I had to make it smaller. It was coming forward way too much. Early morning sense of light. Again, these colors are so muted that when it's so dark, it's more neutralized. We're not seeing really bright colors. So again, I'll probably come back and mute some of this down. But I do want to maintain some brightness, some sense of sun hitting. And here I'm going to, let's see, yeah, these will actually come up here more. So I might have to come back with some white and reestablish these, which was probably what I had to do originally. For now I can hold him with some Naples yellow, because I don't want to add white yet. And it's important to get some really subtle variations too, to add some interest. Don't use the exact same color everywhere. And you'll find just by mixing and relaxing, if you can, you'll get some interesting results without even thinking about it. I didn't pack any burnt umber, I noted to myself. So I'm getting all the darks with the greens, the blues, and the reds. I'm going to leave this for now. This is where the purple is going to come down in there. Kind of a dark line here that's going to help bring out those. Trying to get a reference. This grass doesn't come up too much, but it does come up. And it's the darks against the light, that contrast is going to give us some excitement. Right now it might look like a lot of chaos, and that's fine. That's just fine. Try not to rush this part of the process if you can. Do work quickly and freshly, but not rushed. If you start to feel rushed, it probably means it's a good time to take a break. And I don't want these to connect up completely, because a straight line is going to move the eye quickly, and I don't want to move the eye too quickly. I want to slow it down right there. And a little interest. And you can see I just have these colors on my brush that I'm just stroking on here. And that could be whatever. We don't really care. Painting is not like a photograph. We're trying to create a feeling, a beauty of what we saw, impression, if you will. Just gonna mix all this in for now. Trying to get rid of all the white. I still have plenty of white canvas here, which I'll get. Again, I'm going to let this dry overnight before I go for the sky. It'll be it will mix a little bit tomorrow when I pick it back up, but not as much as it would now. And my shapes are going to get smaller and smaller as I go back. And little strokes here and there to break up the bigger shapes. And there was this beautiful sun coming along the grass. I can come back over once I establish my sky. I'll come back with those later. This is enough of an indication. want to hold those sunny spots. So I'm just going to come in with a smaller brush with some yellow. I'm using the bright cinnabar green on the tree here, and as you can see, if I put it right on the white canvas, it looks much brighter than when I'm blending it into the tree. So this brings us to the close of part 1 of the landscape. We've got most of the ground in. I will come back in and revisit it once I have my sky in. It won't be until I cover all the white of the canvas that I can really start adjusting my values and colors to completion. I hope that you will subscribe, and please join me back for part 2 to complete the painting.